This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed, and you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
And then, bam, guess what? RVD's coming back to WWE. This was in 2013 for my return. But when I wrestled him, that's when I realized, like, wow, they're going to change you so much. Like, this, your whole, wow. Somewhere around there, the business was changing. And I was finding out, when I was wrestling all these guys, like, wow, they do it totally different. Sami was one of the guys. I wrestled him at a show up in New York. He was coming to WWE. It was really big news. And then we were going to wrestle each other. It was going to be like a big match for him, maybe his blow off in Albany or whatever. And then, bam, guess what? RVD's coming back to WWE. This was in 2013 for my return. But when I wrestled him, that's when I realized, like, wow, they're going to change you so much. Like, this, your whole, wow. And as I was telling them, like, the way you guys do things is just like so doesn't make sense with our logic that we've always been using so far. And he tells me that was like one of the pivotal matches for him where he really learned a lot, which I didn't even know, but he told me years later. And man, after that, even being in TNA during that run, 2010 to 2013, it was like didn't matter what size you are, you're doing power moves and acrobatic moves. Everyone does everything, and there's no distinguishing, for the excitement of here's a really big guy against a little guy, but the big guy is going to be the one that's doing the flips and stuff, and the little guy, he's going to gorilla press the big guy. It's going to be like a great match in Bizarro World.
Well, Rob, you talked about this on one of the early episodes. I want to even say it was like episode 4. You talked about like knowing the realm that you're in. You're the wrestler's realm and kind of thing like that, and knowing where you fit and kind of line up in that stuff. And it's like if everybody's doing all those moves, you're taking a tool out of the toolbox when it comes to like, hey, this is what distinguishes Brian Cage from Sami Zayn, or this is what makes somebody different, like Rob Van Dam, different from Big Show. It's just. It's a head scratcher when I see that kind of stuff. I mean, it obviously catches you off guard. It's like, oh wow, look at that. But it's also like, does that really help the story?
Yeah.
Does that really help the story?
One of the first times that I saw was same year, I guess, 2013. So it was between 2010 and 2013 that I really learned the business was changing in that manner. And when I went back to WWE for that return run in 2013, that's when I met Seth Rollins, and I couldn't believe he was picking people up like a power bomb, running across the ring and throwing them into the turnbuckle. Like, I couldn't believe this guy was doing that because he wasn't Brian Cage or Batista, and that move would be so impressive if it was one of them. But then with him doing it, it's almost, to me, I mean, it was still cool from a perspective, but as far as like the realms of wrestling and their size and the physicality that's usually going along with that, it almost came across to me like a wasted move.
Yeah, like forgettable, because it's just like, oh, it's cool that a guy that size, like, wow, it's impressive a guy that size can kind of do that, but it's also like, well, what kind of significance does that have moving forward, It's just like, I remember how amped up I would get when Shawn Michaels would tune up the band for a super kick. And now you see him all the freaking time.
And the worst is when they don't sell it. They take a super kick, bam, and they stand there. And they take another fucking kick, bam, and they still stand there. And they go and they clothesline that guy, and then they sell. And it's like, dude, every time that happens too, I got to pause it and show Katie, like, you see how they're no selling that, right? No sell, and now, boom, he hits him with the move. Okay, and now he's selling a little bit. And sometimes she'll be like, well, maybe he's doing like what we call the drunk sell. There's no reason to do a drunk sell. Look what he did. Like they'll get schoolboyed. 1, 2, kick out and come up like they're wobbly, like they just got a DDT. And it's like they are not believing in what they do.
No.
And I'm always pointing that out. And, that actually led to a discussion between me and Katie. I was like, I could help a lot of those guys down there, guys that are starting out, but have been trained some. I don't think I could do it from scratch. I don't think I'd have the patience or the know-how to teach somebody from scratch. But if there's people that are already working and shit and wanted someone to sharpen them up and make them better, but then again, maybe my way is outdated. Who am I to say?
How much, when you're on the indie scene or you're backstage at something else, how often do you get people asking for you for advice when it comes to stuff?
It happens probably usually once a show, sometimes twice a show that I'm at. And a lot of times it's like, man, I'll try. If it's TV, I might be busy filming and walk around. Usually, a lot of times when they ask afterwards, they'll say, "Did you get a chance to see it?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm sorry, no." Or I just saw a little bit. Were you in the corner? And I saw you move. It looked really good because I like the explosive action. Like you waited and moved, and that was good. But I'm sorry, I missed the rest of it. It often comes like that. I saw a guy on TV a couple days ago on I guess it was old footage from Tough Enough. Actually, now that I think about it, this was on wrestlers that have screwed up and are no longer around and have been caught in scandals, right?
Oh boy!
And this was Velvet Dream.
Oh, Velveteen Dream. Yeah.
Velveteen Dream, yep.
Yep.
I saw him on TV, and I was just telling Katie, like, I remember meeting him at an indie show in Baltimore, and he did just that. He came up to me and he said, "Hey," he said, "if you get a chance, I'd love it if you could watch my match and get any pointers, whatever. I'd be happy to have." I said, "Well, I'll try. When are you up?" I watched this match. I watched the whole match, and everything he did was awesome. Like afterwards, I was like, dude, like everything was just right on the money. There wasn't, nothing stuck out in my mind to tell you to do different. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Everything was great. And, you're probably going to have a good career or whatever. And that was before he was Velveteen Dream, but he was good. But I guess he knew he was good. And I remember seeing him on that Tough Enough, and he was like really, his ego took over, and he was saying he's the only one out of everyone there that even knows how to wrestle and all this stuff. But that stuck out in my mind when you asked me about that, and I am happy to point things out. But what's horrible is if someone says, "Watch my match," and then afterwards they don't want to hear what I what I had to say because they want to listen to everyone else that said, "Great match."
Wow, man. Yeah, that would be like, well, F that then. I would be like, you know what I mean? Yeah, all right then. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fucking people, man. People drive me nuts.
But usually, about once a match or once a night or so, like somebody will pull me aside and ask me if I get a chance to see their match. Same thing when I work with people a lot of times,
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Seth has a couple super chats. Thanks for the $10, Seth. He says, "How about when opponents gingerly help each other balance on the top rope to do a Spanish fly or something? Why do something so obvious, cooperative, and fake?" Yeah, I'm with you, Seth. I think we all are on that one. It's
the worst. What's even worse is when they walk the top rope.
Yes.
The person holds their hand and they don't even make it look like they're trying to pull him down or I used to, like, if Sabu would walk, I would be like working on his legs with my other hand. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like trying to hit his knee or try to shake him or try to pull my hand, like the thing is, and I don't know if I said this here or not because I said it during the documentary the other day. Sheik taught us when you go through the curtain, you have to have the presence of mind that all eyes are on you, the entire time until
Mm-hmm.
you get back through the curtains. And I've just always had that presence of mind. And if I'm in a tag match and I'm on the apron, I'm working my ass off. And it does feel like some people are just looking at me. They're not even watching the match. So even when I'm out there, it's not like a break, like time off. And so many of the guys and girls, but I mean, so many of the generation now doesn't seem to keep the commitment. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Katie just came home.
Oh,
But
what's up, Katie?
anyway, a lot of, that's like when you stop what you're doing to balance somebody and you forget that you were wrestling them. You wanna try, pull your own arm or something. It's just like when someone's outside the ring and they're looking up and the person hasn't even hit the other ropes yet. That's coming down to jump over the rope. I do that too. I pause that and I show Katie. I go, look at there's 3 guys staring up there, and the guy right now, he just hit the other rope. He still has to run all the way across the ring and then jump over the top rope. And they're standing there like they're playing volleyball. Like maybe they're expecting him. And if it was up to me, I would say, hey guys, what's wrong with grabbing the back of your neck? Grab your back, something. And then guess what? Now you're still working. But you take the net out and they each are holding one side of the net and looking up and then expect us to get, back into supporting them when they do something that they think we should pop at. It's like, no, you lost me, dude. You already lost me. You disconnected me.
Right. Oh.
You talked through my porn scene.
You're making me mad just talking about it. Seth adds, my other pet peeve is thigh slapping on every strike, even when it's like a punch to the stomach. I think thigh slap should be for finishers only, like Chris Adams' super kick. So how about that? What do you think of that?
No, it's something. Hi, baby.
Baby.
It's something that happened.
Hey.
It happened during there's a little bit of delay, so I can see my lips moving after I talk. Wow. It's something that happened during that same time period. Whoever between 2010 and 2013, 14, whoever trained all the wrestlers that were trained during that time taught them to slap their leg when they do anything and taught them it's okay to run by each other. What's that move where like you go hit the ropes and then I run into the same ropes you just hit and run right by you. And then you come out to the middle and then you turn around and now I'm coming off the ropes and now I go to hit you and you duck it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's awful.
That came out the exact same time that the era of the slapping one's leg came out. And man, I've never been a fan of it. Sometimes it's appropriate and other times it's not. Channing Decker up in Canada. The last time I don't know, it might have been the first time. I've wrestled him a few times. Mm-hmm. One of the times that I was wrestling him, though, he was talking about some idea that he had. This was earlier in the day, and he just wanted to like feel something out or whatever. And anyway, I was like, he went up to me to do an elbow, and he like smacked his leg while he did that, while he's just like thinking himself through something. And I was like, did you just slap your leg? You slapped your leg when you elbow? He's like, well, yeah. Like doesn't everybody? I was like, oh my God, dude. And he was one too that represented the whole new era. He was upset that I only wanted to use one table because he wanted like at least 2 tables, 2 doors he wanted to break. And like every match has to be like main event, extreme ECW kind of match. And anyway, he wanted to do like every move. He said that he learned a lot too from working with me, and I'm sure he did because I've worked with him a few times. But good kid, good friend of mine. But definitely, the whole time, like first time I met him, I was like, "What?" Like all day, and I was like, "No, come on, man! Like you're." And I remember one time, like, I was like, man, dude, like, help me here. And he's like, what can I do to help you, Rob? I remember this conversation, like, yeah. And I was just like, dude, you know, you have to listen to what I'm saying. But it was his show too. But good
Oh,
guy though.
he does the Greek town wrestling.
Yep, yep. That was the first one, Greektown. Yeah, and then I've wrestled him. You saw
wrestled
me
him
at
in
the
Pittsburgh when
wrestling
we
ring.
went with
Also up
first.
in Canada, up one of the Providences or whatever you call it up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy you wrestled too in Pittsburgh with at the shithole Rough
Yep.
Shaver
Got to
Gardens.
get him on Only Wrestlers, as a matter of fact. I
That's
was
it.
telling him about it way earlier when I was at the Montreal Comic Con. I saw him.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
good guy. I like him.
Yeah.